Maya's scream tore through the mansion like shattered glass. She ran barefoot down the third-floor hallway, her heart slamming against her ribs, her thin cotton nightdress twisting around her legs. The marble floor was ice-cold beneath her feet, but she barely felt it. All she could see was the nursery door at the end of the corridor, wide open. Broken. Splintered wood. A shattered lock. Wrong. Everything was wrong. She crossed the threshold just as glass crunched under her heel. Two men stood inside. Masks. Black tactical gear. Silenced guns already raised toward the cribs. 3 white bassinets lined the wall. Baby Eli. Baby Noah. Baby Luna. Beep. One of the men leaned forward, his gloved hand reaching down. Maya didn't think. She grabbed the ceramic vase from the dresser, the overpriced one Mrs. Whitmore loved more than her own antiques, and swung with every ounce of fear and rage in her body. The vase shattered against the man's head with a sickening crack. He dropped instantly. The second man spun toward her, gun lifting, shock flashing in his eyes. The maid wasn't supposed to fight back. All 3 babies screamed at once, sharp, terrified cries that sliced straight through her soul. Maya threw herself in front of the cribs, arms stretched wide like she could shield all 3 with her own body. Her pulse roared in her ears. The barrel of the gun looked enormous up close. Final. Move, the man ordered calmly. His accent was thick, Eastern European, maybe Russian. Now. No. The word came out raw. Time slowed. Red security lights flashed in the hallway behind him. Luna's stuffed bunny lay on the floor abandoned. The man's hand trembled, just slightly. He wasn't used to killing women. Or maybe not women who refused to beg. The gun fired. Maya flinched. But the bullet never reached her. The man's head snapped back violently. Blood sprayed the wall. He collapsed in a heap. Behind him, framed in the doorway, stood Alexander Whitmore. Maya had never seen her employer lose control. Not when he'd calmly shot a traitor in the backyard 6 months earlier. Not when men knelt and begged for mercy in his presence. He was always cold. Precise. Like a doctor performing surgery. But now there was something wild in his eyes. He wore nothing but black silk pajama pants, his bare chest rising with controlled breaths. A Glock hung loosely in his hand, as natural as a limb. Blood stained his feet, not his. 3 more bodies lay scattered in the hallway behind him. His gaze swept the room in seconds. The shattered window, the unconscious intruder, the dead man, the screaming babies. Then his eyes locked on Maya. You should have hidden, he said coldly. Not fought. Something snapped inside her. Maya scooped up baby Luna, pressing the crying infant to her chest while keeping her body between Whitmore's armed men, now flooding in, and the remaining cribs. Where were you? She demanded, her voice shaking with fury, not fear. They almost died. In your house. With your security. While you. I was killing the 6 men who broke through the south gate, he cut in calmly. The 2 in this room were the only ones who made it this far. He moved toward baby Eli's crib and lifted the 10-month-old with surprising gentleness. Eli had stopped crying, hiccuping softly as his small fists clutched Whitmore's bare chest. For a moment Maya forgot who he was. Then Whitmore looked at her arm. Blood streamed from a deep cut just below her elbow, soaking into Luna's yellow onesie. You're hurt. I'm fine. You're bleeding on my daughter. She's alive because I was here. Maya shot back, her voice breaking as the adrenaline drained from her body. Because someone had to protect them. Something dark flashed in Whitmore's eyes. He handed Eli to his second-in-command, Daniel Reyes, then crossed the room in 2 long strides. He was too close. She could smell gunpowder, blood, and something warm and expensive like cedarwood. His fingers closed gently around her injured arm, inspecting the wound with clinical precision. Glass, he said. Deep but clean. You'll need stitches. I need to. Get Noah, he ordered, nodding toward the 3rd crib where the quietest baby stared at them with huge tear-filled eyes. We're going to the safe room. That wasn't. Not a suggestion, Miss Carter. The formal use of her name stung. Maya swallowed her protest, lifting baby Noah with her free arm. The baby was warm. Heavy. Alive. They moved through the Los Angeles mansion in silence. Whitmore led, gun in hand, scars lining his back, old ones she'd never seen. Daniel followed with Eli. Armed guards flanked them. The safe room was hidden behind a false wall in Whitmore's private office. Concrete. Steel. One reinforced crib. Medical supplies. Weapons. No windows. The door sealed shut with a hiss. Just them now. Whitmore knelt and settled the babies together. They slowly calmed, exhaustion winning. Luna's eyes fluttered closed. Sit, he ordered gently. Maya did. Her legs couldn't hold her anymore. He cleaned her wound with steady hands. He hissed at the sting. Pain means you're alive, he said. Is that what you tell yourself, she whispered, after you kill people? His hands paused just for a moment. I tell myself my children are alive, he replied. That's enough. Maya watched him, conflicted. She'd taken the job because she was drowning in medical bills. Because her ex-boyfriend had nearly destroyed her ability to have children. Because Whitmore paid triple what anyone else would. She'd planned to leave the night she saw him execute a man. But the babies had cried. And she'd stayed. For them, she said quietly when he asked why she fought. They're mine. The words were dangerous. True. Whitmore studied her like she was something new. Tomorrow, he said finally, standing. 6 a.m. My office. We need to discuss your future with my children. Her stomach dropped. What does that mean? It means, he said coldly, turning away, you've made yourself either very valuable or very dangerous. The door opened. House is secure, Daniel said. But we found something. You need to see it. Whitmore glanced back at Maya one last time. Don't leave this room, he said. Not until we talk. Then he was gone. Maya sat alone with 3 sleeping babies, and a feeling settling deep in her chest. Not fear. Something far worse. Hope. Morning crept over the Whitmore estate like a bruise, purple and sickly yellow bleeding into dull gray. Maya hadn't slept. Every time she shut her eyes she saw the muzzle of a gun, heard the babies screaming, felt the heat of blood that hadn't belonged to her. At 5:47 a.m. she stood outside Whitmore's office, her bandaged arm pulsing with pain. She'd changed into fresh clothes, black slacks, a crisp white blouse, but fear clung to her skin like smoke. No matter how much she washed, she still felt unclean. Like violence had soaked into her bones. She knocked. Once. Twice. Come in. The office was intimidating in a way only old money could be. Dark mahogany furniture. Floor-to-ceiling shelves stacked with rare books and legal volumes. Glass cases displaying antique firearms. A katana mounted above the fireplace, its blade gleaming softly. Whitmore sat behind his desk, flawless in a charcoal 3-piece suit despite the early hour. Hair styled. Face clean-shaven. The man who'd stalked through blood and gunfire the night before was gone. All except his eyes. Those were still lethal. Sit. Maya did, folding her hands tightly in her lap to hide their trembling. Through the window behind him, the gardens stretched wide, bare rose bushes standing like skeletons. She'd watched him kill a man there months ago. The roses had been blooming then. Whitmore studied her in silence. He counted. 15 seconds. Then he slid a thick document across the desk. Read. Her eyes skimmed the legal text, then slowed. Words began to sink in. Exclusive caregiver. Live-in requirement. 5-year binding contract. Immediate advance. $150,000. Her breath caught. Her surgery. He was offering to pay for everything. Up front. And double her salary. For 5 years. Why? She asked quietly. Keep reading. She did. Background checks. Security clearance. Relocation at his discretion. Penalties so severe they made her stomach twist. You want to own me, Maya said, finally lifting her gaze. For 5 years. Whitmore leaned back, fingers steepled. Calculating. I want my children protected, he said. Last night showed me that security systems fail. Guns fail. Men fail. They could have hired trained guards, she argued. Former military. They would have run, he cut in sharply. You didn't. His stare was intense enough to feel physical. You stepped in front of bullets with no training, no weapon, and no guarantee you'd survive, he continued. That kind of instinct isn't learned. You can't buy loyalty like that. No, he agreed calmly. But I can secure it. Maya let out a hollow laugh. So I signed, take the money for surgery, and if I try to leave early, I owe you everything back. With interest. Yes. She should walk away. Should tear the contract apart and leave the estate forever. But then she saw their faces. Eli's soft hiccups. Noah's quiet watching eyes. Luna's tiny fingers gripping her shirt. Why me? She asked softly. Why not professionals? Whitmore stood. He rounded the desk slowly, deliberately, until he was standing directly in front of her. Too close. Close enough that she noticed the faint scar above his brow. A single thread of silver at his temple. The way his pupils widened when he looked at her. Soldiers follow orders, he said quietly. Mothers don't. The word hit her like a blow. Mothers. I'm not one, Maya said, her voice tightening. I can't be. Why not? The simplicity of the question nearly broke her. You know why, she said bitterly. The records you pulled. The damage. The surgery I need. Biology doesn't matter, Whitmore said. He braced one hand on the back of her chair, trapping her. Last night, when Death was standing in the nursery, you were their mother. I just didn't want children to die. No, he murmured, leaning closer. You chose to die instead of them. Her pulse roared. Then he stepped back, reclaiming control. You already work for a killer, he said flatly. You've clean blood. You've taken money earned in violence. And you stayed. For the kids, she admitted. And that's why you're perfect. Maya swallowed. I'm not a good person. Good, Whitmore said, lifting a fountain pen. Good people hesitate. Hesitation gets you killed. Her hand hovered over the paper. What happened to the last nanny? He paused. She left. Why? She became attached. To the children or to you? Whitmore's jaw tightened. She wanted things I couldn't give. Maya's eyes drifted to a photograph on his desk. A woman. Beautiful. Said, your wife. Yes. Their mother. Yes. How did she? Sign the contract or don't, he said coldly. But don't pretend this is anything but business. He blinked. Whitmore never blinked when he lied. Maya picked up the pen. Her signature felt heavier than the ink that formed it. Whitmore locked the contract away. Surgery is scheduled next month, he said. Best surgeon in Los Angeles. Pie room. Family wing. 3rd floor. Next to the nursery. Her chest tightened. Your family now, Maya, he said coolly. Welcome home. 1 week later. Luxury became routine. Security tightened. Doors opened to places she'd never been allowed before. Surveillance rooms, weapon vaults, reinforced safe rooms. Daniel Reyes drilled her on emergency protocols. Red zone. Safe room beta. Never alpha. Code is your birthday backwards plus Whitmore's wedding date. Mrs. Carter, housekeeper for decades, watched it all with quiet warning in her eyes. Careful, she said one night. Getting too close. The last woman did too, Mrs. Carter added softly. She fell in love with the wrong things. That night Maya wandered into the nursery. And froze. Whitmore sat in the rocker, shirt discarded, Luna asleep on his bare chest. He was singing. Soft. Broken. Human. When he noticed her, the walls snapped back into place. Leave. She's still awake, Maya said gently. You're holding her wrong. Do you always challenge me? Only when you're wrong. He caged her against the wall. You don't understand me. Then show me. For one terrifying moment she thought he might. Instead he stepped away. Go to bed, he said hoarsely. Before I do something I'll regret. 3 days later. Maya overheard voices in the hallway. A leak, a man whispered. Someone close. And the maid? Whitmore asked. They want her gone. Her blood ran cold. Moments later she noticed a phone left on the counter. Mrs. Carter's. Unlocked. The message glowed on the screen. Next Tuesday. 3 a.m. Make sure the maid doesn't interfere. Reply. Confirmed. She won't be a problem. The phone slipped from Maya's fingers and clattered against the marble countertop. Mrs. Carter. Sweet, soft-spoken Mrs. Carter. The woman who brought her tea at night, who hummed old funeral hymns while dusting, who warned her gently not to get too close. Mrs. Carter was the leak. Or was she? Maya's thoughts spiraled. The message didn't sound cruel. It sounded resigned. Almost defeated. And Mrs. Carter had never threatened her, only warned her. Unless the warnings themselves had been meant to. The kitchen door burst open. Daniel Reyes stormed in first, hand already on his holster, eyes sweeping the room. Behind him came Whitmore, dressed in black from head to toe, his presence sucking the air out of the space. "What happened?" he demanded, already reading the terror on Maya's face. She grabbed the phone and shoved it toward him. "Mrs. Carter. I think she's..." Whitmore read the messages. His jaw hardened. Something dark and lethal crossed his eyes. "Lock the house down. Now," he ordered calmly. "Find her. Bring her in alive." Daniel vanished, barking orders into his radio. The estate erupted. Boots pounding, doors slamming, metal shutters sealing windows with mechanical precision. Whitmore's hand closed around Maya's wrist. "Firm. Steady. With me. The babies. Already secured." He pulled her through corridors she'd never seen before, down a staircase hidden behind a bookshelf, through a reinforced tunnel that felt more like a war bunker than a home. They emerged into a space that stole her breath. Half fortress. Half luxury suite. Concrete walls softened by expensive rugs. A king-sized bed. A full bathroom. A small kitchen. And behind a thick interior window, bulletproof glass. 3 cribs sat peacefully, the triplets asleep while armed guards stood watch. "You're staying here," Whitmore said. "With me." Maya turned sharply. "I should be with them." "You are." He glanced at the glass. "And you're a target now. The safest place for you is where I can reach you." The weight of that statement hit her all at once. This room. That bed. Him. Before she could respond, Daniel's voice crackled through the intercom. "Boss. We have Mrs. Carter. But, you need to hear this." Mrs. Carter sat bound to a chair in the main safe room. Come. Humming softly under her breath. Whitmore stood in front of her, gun loose in his hand, his face carved from stone. "Explain." Her humming stopped. "They have my son," she said quietly. "Evan. He's been gone 3 weeks." Silence pressed in. "They sent me his finger," she whispered. "Told me if I spoke they'd send the rest of him back in pieces." Maya's stomach twisted. "Why didn't you come to me?" Whitmore asked, voice dangerously low. "I could have found him." "You would have used him as leverage," Mrs. Carter snapped. "Don't lie. My son's life means nothing in your world. So you offered up mine." "I gave them schedules," she said bitterly. "Routes. Nothing involving the children. I swear that on my son's life. I never told them about the nursery." Whitmore studied her, measuring truth, weighing desperation. "Then who did?" Her gaze slid to Daniel, standing rigid by the door, hands obsessively dismantling a gun. "Ask him about his brother," she said softly. "Ask Marcus where he was the night of the attack." The interrogation lasted 6 hours. Maya didn't see it, but she heard enough. Shouting. Crashing furniture. Daniel's voice breaking with betrayal. When Whitmore finally returned, his knuckles were bloodied. "He confessed," Whitmore said flatly. "Gambling debts. 8 months of leaked intel." "And Mrs. Carter?" "She was collateral. Threatened into silence." "What will you do?" Whitmore looked at her. "What would you do?" "Exile him," Maya said carefully. "Killing him kills a part of Daniel too." Silence. Then Whitmore nodded. "Mexico. New identity. He comes back, he dies. Mercy. Real mercy." Something shifted between them. The lockdown lasted 72 hours. They learned the shape of each other in that time, moving carefully, sharing space, pretending the air between them wasn't charged. On the second morning, baby Eli pointed at Whitmore through the glass. "Daddy sad." Whitmore frowned. "I smile." "No," Eli insisted. "Not at Maya." Maya laughed before she could stop herself. Whitmore looked at her and smiled. Really smiled. Changed everything. Later, she watched him help Luna take her first steps, laughing openly when she fell. That version of him, gentle, proud, human, was far more dangerous than the ruthless man she feared. Because this one was impossible not to love. That night the power went out. The darkness triggered memories Maya tried to bury. Her breathing fractured. A hand steadied her. "Listen to my voice," Whitmore murmured. "You're safe." And in the dark she told him everything. The abuse. The hospital. The surgery. The fear she'd never be whole. You are whole, he said firmly. You're the strongest person I know. Their hands intertwined. When the lights came back on, they pulled apart, too close to something irreversible. On the fourth day, lockdown lifted. That evening, Whitmore found Maya alone in the nursery. You make me want to be better, he admitted softly. I'm scared, she whispered. Of this. So am I. His hand cupped her cheek. His phone rang. Whitmore's face drained of color. I'll be there, he said hollowly. When he hung up, he looked at her with something like dread. Choi Deung wants a meeting, he said. Tomorrow night. Neutral ground. And he wants you there. His voice broke. Or he takes the children. The warehouse sat at the edge of the industrial zone like a decaying wound, corrugated metal eaten by rust, shattered windows, and the kind of silence that swallowed screams. This was the kind of place where people vanished and the city pretended it never noticed. Maya sat in the passenger seat of the armored SUV, fingers locked together to hide the tremor running through her hands. Her breathing was steady, but her heart felt like it was trying to break out of her chest. Behind them, 3 black vehicles rolled in formation, carrying Ethan Cole and a dozen of Whitmore's most trusted men. Ahead, the massive warehouse doors stood open, yawning like a mouth waiting to devour them. You don't have to go in, Whitmore said tightly. His eyes never left the road, his grip on the steering wheel bone white. I can still change the plan. He asked for me, Maya replied softly. If I don't show up, he takes the kids. And you know he will. I won't let him touch you. You might not get a choice. Whitmore finally turned to her. The dashboard lights carved his face into sharp lines. Rage barely restrained, fear buried deep beneath control. There is always a choice, he said. And I choose to burn this entire city down before I let him take you from me. Her chest ached at the rawness in his voice. 24 hours ago they'd almost kissed in the nursery. Almost crossed a line neither of them could uncross. Now they were driving straight into a trap, and all Maya could think was, I never told him. I never said it out loud. Whitmore. Don't. He reached over and covered her hand with his, grounding her. Don't say goodbye. We're walking out of this together. I don't accept any other ending. She wanted to believe him. Wanted to believe his certainty could bend fate itself. But life had taught her otherwise. The radio crackled. Positions set. Ethan's voice came through. Snipers on 3 exits. Say the word and we breach. No, Whitmore replied. We go in clean. No visible weapons until I give the signal. His thumb brushed slow circles against Maya's hand, so gentle it nearly broke her. This only works if he thinks he's winning. Copy. We've got you. Whitmore released her hand and checked the gun holstered at his lower back. Maya knew there were more, ankle, shoulder. She'd watched him arm himself earlier with the calm focus of a man preparing for war. Stay behind me, he said. No matter what he says. No matter what happens. Okay. Promise me. She met his eyes. I promise to do everything I can to make sure we both survive. It wasn't the promise he wanted, but it was honest. They stepped out of the SUV. The air smelled like oil and chemicals. Maya wore tailored black pants and a blazer, armor of a different kind. She refused to look like prey. Whitmore moved beside her, close enough that their arms brushed. She could feel the violence coiled inside him, ready to strike. They entered the warehouse. Inside, harsh yellow lights flickered overhead, casting sick shadows across abandoned machinery and steel beams. And at the center of it all, like a king on a throne built from nightmares, sat Victor Kane. Photos hadn't prepared her. A jagged scar split his face from temple to jaw, as if something had tried to tear him open. One eye was dead and milky. The other was sharp, intelligent, and fixed on Maya with unsettling interest. Around his neck hung a necklace made of human teeth. Her stomach turned. Armed men surrounded him, 20 at least, more hidden in the shadows. Whitmore, Kane said pleasantly. Always on time. And you brought the woman. How obedient. State your terms, Whitmore said coldly. We're not here to chat. Kane rose and stepped forward with predatory grace. I enjoy conversation. It reminds us we're civilized. His gaze slid to Maya. Though sometimes being an animal has its advantages. My terms are simple, Kane continued. I want everything south of the river. Your routes. Your contacts. Your decade of work. That's half my empire. Yes. Kane smiled. But I'll spare your life. And your children. Family matters. And her? Whitmore asked, his voice dropping to something lethal. Oh, Maya. Kane's attention snapped back to her. She's non-negotiable. The air went cold. Explain, Whitmore said softly. I knew her ex, Kane said, circling them. Talkative man. Told me all about her condition. Maya felt the world tilt. She can't carry children, Kane continued calmly. No risk of heirs. Very convenient. Whitmore's gun was suddenly pressed against Kane's forehead. Say one more word about her, Whitmore growled, and I end you. 20 guns clicked into position. And your children die, Kane replied evenly. I have men watching your home right now. One call, one missed check-in, and those babies are gone. Whitmore's hand trembled. Maya touched his arm. Whitmore, put the gun down. No. She stepped forward anyway, placing herself between them. I'll go, she said. Just guarantee the kids' safety. No. Whitmore pulled her back. I'll give you everything, but not her. Everything includes her, Kane said. Then, boom. The east wall exploded in fire and smoke. Chaos erupted. Kane's men turned on each other as gunfire filled the air. Half of them had switched sides. Ethan's voice roared through Whitmore's earpiece. Now. Whitmore dragged Maya behind a steel pillar as bullets ricocheted. Stay down. But Maya didn't. She grabbed a fallen gun, checked it with instinct she didn't know she had. When did you learn that? Whitmore shouted. Later. She fired, clipped a man aiming at Whitmore's back. They fought back to back. Maya shot to disable. Whitmore shot to end. Ethan's men flooded in, overwhelming the remaining loyalists. Then, a shot rang out. Whitmore staggered. Blood bloomed across his shoulder. No. Maya caught him. You're hit. I'm fine, he lied. Another shot cracked. Kane stood above them on a catwalk, reloading. Whitmore shoved Maya aside and fired. The third bullet struck Kane's leg. He screamed and fell. They escaped as sirens wailed in the distance. The safe house was quiet. A doctor removed the bullet, stitched Whitmore up, and left them alone. You scared me, Maya whispered. I know. You took that bullet for me. Yes. He smiled faintly. Worth it. Silence stretched between them. My wife died giving birth, Whitmore said suddenly. I watched her bleed out. Maya squeezed his hand. When I learned about your surgery, I was relieved. Because I couldn't lose you the same way. You don't need me to give you children, Maya said softly. I already love them like they're mine. They love you like you gave birth to them. Love makes a mother. Whitmore cupped her face. Marry me. She froze. This is sudden. I love you, he said simply. And I know you love us. Her heart thundered. Before she could think, she kissed him, quick, shocked, real, then jumped up, blushing. I'll go get the kids, she called, running. Whitmore laughed softly. Is that a yes? She turned back, smiling through tears. Yes. I'll marry you. She never imagined loving the triplets would lead her here, but it was the happiest ending she could have chosen.